In a clandestine government lab in Korea, scientists are conducting horrific experiments on dogs, aiming to create weaponized canines for warfare. Meanwhile, at the Department of Security, Secretary Young gives Deputy Director Cha some extra money as a thank you for his support during his campaign. Later at home, Cha watches his daughter Kyung-min pack for her departure to study abroad. She also packs her deceased mother's book, which upsets Cha. He scolds her, complaining about unnecessary weight. In the evening, Cha drives Kyung-min to the airport. They stop at a gas station, but Joe, the attendant, informs him the reader isn't working and asks for cash. Cha notices that Joe has a master key and accuses him of being a tow truck driver, pretending to be a clerk. Joe plays innocent, and Cha leaves without paying, promising to bring the cash to the owner later. At the airport, sisters Miran and Yora are denied boarding because Yora forgot to renew her passport. Yora blames Miran, her manager, claiming that she will miss her golf tournament. At that moment, they're approached by Sunok, who mistakes Yora for her cousin. Her husband, Byung-hak, follows her, and Sunok is startled, causing her to try to cross the street and almost get hit by a car. The others quickly pull her back to safety. Byung-hak has to remind her that he is her husband, and the sisters realize Sunok is senile. Minutes later, all these groups arrive at the bridge outside the city, which is enveloped in heavy fog. Most drivers are driving cautiously, but there's a guy in a yellow car who is driving recklessly while recording it for social media. There's also a mysterious car with a cage driving recklessly. In another car, Dr. Yang is being transported to a lab by a couple of soldiers. The yellow car speeds up even more and nearly crashes into another vehicle, causing the driver to slam on the brakes. The car ends up blocking part of the road, forcing the bus carrying Byung-hak and Sunok to stop as well. They narrowly avoid hitting the fence, but other drivers are not so lucky. A car crashes into the yellow one, triggering a chain reaction that involves almost every vehicle on the bridge. A huge truck approaches, attempting to swerve around the bus, only to overturn and start pushing the other cars together. People panic and flee from the car pileup just before the truck comes to a halt. A police car appears on the opposite lane, only to crash into a crane. Back at the gas station, Joe is being scolded by the station owner for losing the money. Just then, they hear the news about the bridge pileup on the radio, and Joe deduces that Cha must be stuck there. He leaves in his truck with his dog Jody to look for him. On the bridge, Cha and Kyung-min are still moving on the opposite lane, witnessing the chaos unfolding nearby. The cage car continues safely, but Yang's car gets a tire stuck in some debris and loses control, quickly crashing and flipping over. A tire flies out and hits Cha's car, causing it to crash into the fence. Another vehicle with soldiers crashes into the flipped truck, but the cage car stops just in time. Kyung-min believes they should be helping people, but Cha tells her to stay in the car while he investigates. The soldiers have already rescued Yang, who repeatedly mentions some dogs. While Cha stays with him, the soldiers run to check on the cage, only to find it open and empty, except for the body of the driver at the back. The captain immediately orders all cell signals on the bridge to be jammed. Cha takes Yang to his car and attempts to call for help, but he loses signal. The same happens to all the other victims. He also notices Kyung-min is missing. The girl is following a strange noise and discovers a large dog called E9 hitting its head against the fence. Kyung-min tries to offer her food to calm her down, but Cha arrives to protect his daughter, and E9 runs away. The soldiers inform Yang that the dogs have escaped and they must activate the control program. Yang activates software on his laptop as the soldiers tell him a helicopter is arriving, which is overheard by Cha. He believes nobody should be flying in the fog and explains he works for the Department of Security before inquiring about the phone signal. The soldiers simply tell him to stay out of it. Cha protests and tries to steal a radio, so the soldiers handcuff him to the steering wheel. Just then, Joe arrives in his truck and sees the cop from before trying to direct traffic. In the car, Yang finishes activating the program, which shows a whole lineup of dogs. The soldiers put on extra protection as the dogs suddenly run back. They all have a chip in their heads that Yang's program controls, making them violent. These beasts are incredibly fast, and soon they are jumping on the soldiers, who use stun batons to try to subdue them. Yang notices that E9 isn't moving, unaware of the reason. After much fighting and hitting the dogs with their helmets, the soldiers jump inside the cage to lure the dogs, effectively trapping them. Yang turns off the program to calm the dogs down, just as an aircraft arrives and a group of soldiers land on the bridge. Jody sees this and runs after them, so Joe goes after her too. Cha demands an explanation, but Yang tells him to ask his boss about Project Silence before running to join the soldiers. The dogs are moved into a new cage, while Yang manages the program, although he is distracted by Jody barking. Joe tries to reach her, but is pushed back by the soldiers. Suddenly, Kyung-min comes to pick up Jody, and a soldier tries to stop her, but Cha comes to her defense. Just then, a soldier finds a chip on the ground and realizes that E9 hit her head to remove it. The aircraft starts lifting the cage with the dogs, and the man aboard is shocked to see E9 on top of it. She immediately attacks the soldier, causing the towing machine to lose control and drop the cage to the ground. The co-pilot attempts to shoot her, but E9 is too fast and immediately kills him before attacking the pilot as well. The aircraft hits the bridge suspenders and E9 jumps out just before it crashes. As the aircraft catches fire, it spins several times and gets caught on the suspenders, creating a pitching noise that drives the dogs crazy. Finally, they snap and open the cage to come out. The furious dogs destroy the cars and attack any person they can find, killing mercilessly. The crowd panics and runs away as more and more bodies fall. A dog tries to attack Yang, trying to drag him through the fence, but Cha grabs Yang and pulls him out of its mouth. A soldier appears and starts electrocuting the beast, only for another dog to jump and kill him. There's another beast approaching, so Cha runs away with Kyung-min, Joe, and Jody. Yora can't reach Miran, who is stuck in the running crowd. A dog is coming after her, so Yora grabs a golf club and hits it before running away with her sister. Joe tries to get in his truck and finds a dog there, so he starts running too. Yang finds a working car, so Cha and Kyung-min get in with him, driving away after a bit of struggle with some debris. Cha doesn't want to stop to pick up Joe and Jody, but his daughter forces him to. Joe and Jody get in the trunk just before the dog could reach them. While other survivors rush to hide inside the bus, Cha's group moves ahead and watches how the aircraft stuck on the bridge finally explodes. Pieces start to fall and land in the middle of the bridge, causing flames to spread on the gas leaked by the truck and block the exit. He loses control of the vehicle and starts turning to avoid the flames, but they still crash against the fence. Meanwhile, Jung is trying to send help, but helicopters can't fly in the fog, and the bridge is too high for ships to reach it. However, he tells the reporters they're using all their resources for a proper rescue. Back to Cha, he takes Yang's radio and tries asking for help, but he gets no replies as another dog jumps on the car. The creature sniffs at the glass for a few seconds, but gets bored and leaves. Then, Yang explains he developed rescue dogs that respond to human voices, but the military made him reprogram them for hunting. It was a commission from the US and European countries who wanted killer canines that could find and kill terrorists. They're trained to recognize their target's voice, but the project didn't go well, and the dogs became too violent. They were on the bridge because the military was trying to dispose of the failed samples. After another try, Cha manages to use the radio to contact Jung. Cha tells Jung about Project Silence and how it involves the current minister, saying he has enough evidence to bring him down. However, Jung informs him that the project also involves their own department. At that moment, a few dogs surround the car, but another explosion happens and the flames get even bigger, scaring the dogs away and causing smoke to get in the car. Luckily, the bus comes over to help, so the group covers their faces and runs to join the other survivors. The bridge is starting to go down, so the bus immediately pulls back as the aircraft finally falls, causing the biggest explosion yet. The fire and the shockwave break the suspenders, making the middle of the bridge collapse. But luckily, the bus gets away just in time. Nearby, E9 has gathered her pack. The survivors huddle together in the bus. Cha, determined to protect them, steps forward and assures them that rescue is coming. He also fabricates a story about the phone outage and the dog's behavior to calm the crowd. Joe, who had initially claimed to be a tow truck driver, backs up Cha's story, and the survivors, desperate for reassurance, believe him. Joe then steals an abandoned bottle of alcohol and asks Cha to speak privately. He wants the gas money, but Cha surprises him by offering a hefty reward and a medal if Joe remains silent. Moments later, a SWAT team arrives on the bridge, heading directly towards the bus to evacuate the survivors. They claim to have not seen any dogs. Cha, sensing danger, contacts Jung and alerts him to the potential threat. Jung, however, assures him that the soldiers will protect them. As the group begins crossing the bridge, they are confronted with the stark reality of the situation. Countless bodies litter the ground, victims of the dog's rampage. Yang spots a dog running amongst the cars, stepping back instinctively, accidentally setting off a car alarm. They are promptly ambushed by the dogs, who had deliberately triggered the alarms. Miran is shot in the leg, and Yora swiftly rushes to protect her, using an object as a shield. As the soldiers are ruthlessly killed one by one, Sunak, in her senility, attempts to pet a dog, only to be thrown to the ground and bitten. A bullet scares the dog away. Cha, too, is attacked by a dog, but manages to hold it back, noticing Joe hiding under a car. Jody, Joe's dog, starts barking, distracting the dog and giving Joe a chance to escape. Cha rushes to help Kyung-min, who is struggling to retrieve her bag from a dog. He urges her to drop it, but she refuses, clinging to her mother's book. He forces her to let go and drags her back. But as the dog tries to follow them, a soldier shoots it, only to be killed by another dog. Cha and Kyung-min run back to the bus, seeking shelter in the luggage compartment. Cha realizes he's dropped his radio and has to go back outside. He quickly retrieves it, taking the opportunity to grab his daughter's bag and a flare gun. Kyung-min, while waiting, watches a video of her mother reading the book to her in the hospital, missing her dad's smile. She's interrupted by Yang, who opens a hatch leading to the main part of the bus. Yang explains that E9 is the original dog, and all the others are her clones. She sees them as her children, and during the experiments, she witnessed the humans repeatedly killing her puppies. What she's doing now isn't hunting, it's revenge. Meanwhile, Cha finds the remaining survivors hiding in a fallen truck. Joe, Jody, the sisters, and the elderly couple. Joe admits to them that he had lied about being a tow truck driver, and Sunak is bleeding heavily. Cha lights some torches using a flare and shoots another one into the sky, signaling Jung, who sees the flames on the security cameras. Cha explains that the group will try to leave on the bus and asks for snipers to shoot at the dogs. But Jung refuses, claiming that reporters will record it and promising that a SWAT team is waiting at the bridge break. A desperate Cha informs him that the survivors know everything, and Jung hangs up. When the group reaches the bus, Hyung-min tries to open the door, but Yang stops her, fearing that the dogs will enter. They are currently surrounding the bus, so the survivors try to scare them off with the flames. But one dog manages to reach Sunok and bite her stomach. Bae-yong-hak uses his torch to burn the dog and make it back off, but the dog gets her foot instead. The torches are starting to die down, so Joe drinks the alcohol from earlier and spits it at the fire, creating huge flames that effectively keep the dogs at bay. Cha takes out the flare gun and almost shoots Yang, but instead, he shoots the flare at the ground. The resulting flash of light blinds everyone, and Yang lets go of Kyung-min, who finally opens the bus door. The survivors rush into the bus, and Joe kicks Yang for not helping. Then the group notices that the bus has no keys, so they use Joe's master key to make it work. Meanwhile, Jung cancels all conversations with the press and is losing support for his candidacy for president. He gets a message from the minister saying he gets to choose whether to save the survivors or not. The bus reaches the bridge break, and Cha tries to contact the SWAT team through the radio, but nobody answers. The group argues over what to do because the dogs are waiting, and Kyung-min comes up with a plan. They hide in the luggage compartment with a camera, and while they wait, Sunok unfortunately dies. Soon, the dogs enter the bus, and the group pulls a thread to close the door, trapping them. The survivors immediately start coming out, but Bae-yong-hak refuses to leave his wife. As Cha tries to argue with him, the dogs find the hatch and try to open it. Bae-yong-hak tells Cha to go while he stays to keep the hatch closed. The dogs manage to bite Bae-yong-hak's arm, and Cha starts pulling him away, but Joe drags him away. Bae-yong-hak then closes the luggage compartment just before the dogs come down to kill him. Cha wants to run back to save him, but Joe has to grab him again and remind him that it's too late. Afterwards, the group searches for the SWAT team, but there's nobody around. When Yang learns who Cha has been talking to, he laughs and explains that Jung started the Silence Project, which got him his current position. A furious Cha calls Jung and insults him for his lies, saying the survivors will escape and he wants medics, plus the press waiting for them, or he'll make Jung regret it. The group wants to use Joe's truck to escape through the toxic gas, but the keys are back in the bus. Yang looks for his laptop, and they make a plan to lure the dogs into the cage. Cha will act as bait, and before he gets into the cage, Kyung-min tells him she doesn't want to study abroad. She also gives him her mom's book. Yura gets her golf clubs ready and finally admits to Miran that she knew her passport had expired, but she didn't say anything because she was too afraid to play in the tournament. Next, Yang activates the transmission of Cha's voice, who is reading the book. As the dogs start going crazy, Yura begins hitting golf balls, making them hit the bus window repeatedly until it's weak enough for the dogs to jump through it. The beasts immediately reach the cage and start shaking it to reach Cha. Joe uses this chance to get his keys back from the bus, only to discover E9 is still there because she doesn't have a chip. A terrified Joe runs to his truck where the others are waiting. E9 follows him and attacks Yang as soon as she sees him. Yang picks a stun baton from the ground and starts shocking E9, who suddenly pulls back when the ground starts shaking. Another section of the bridge is collapsing, causing the cage and the dogs to fall with the other cars. E9 runs to help her pack, but the vehicles bring them down as they slide and fall into the sea. The last dog is caught under some debris, and E9 tries her best to help. The cage also slides down, but gets stuck on the bridge at the last second. Just then, Joe and the others arrive with the truck, but Cha tells them to stay back because the truck's weight will make it worse. While waiting for the end, Cha reads the note his wife wrote for her family at the end of the book. Then he sees Kyung-min coming closer with the towing hook and opens the door to tell her to stay back because the dogs are nearby. However, E9 won't attack Kyung-min because she was nice to her. The bridge continues to collapse and the other dog falls, so E9 jumps after it and falls as well. The cage slides down a little more, and Cha holds on as much as he can. Suddenly, Kyung-min appears on top of the cage and connects the hook before climbing inside with him. Afterwards, Joe and the others get on the truck and drive off, dragging the cage behind them. The bridge keeps on collapsing, so the truck speeds up, and everyone covers their faces as they go through the toxic gas. There's another part of the bridge breaking here, and Joe has to pull a crazy move to dodge it too, which disconnects the cage in the process. When they finally make it to the safe area, the survivors think Cha and Kyung-min are dead, but the cage suddenly shows up because its wheels are rolling thanks to gained momentum. Once Cha and Kyung-min join the others in the truck, Cha promises Joe he'll get him that medal because he earned it. The truck keeps on driving, and they make it to the end of the bridge, where the authorities and the reporters are waiting. Jung offers them a warm welcome, only for Cha to punch him. He then throws the money on the ground before telling the reporters the entire truth. Both Cha and Yang offer all their recordings as proof of the experiments. Cha announces that Kyung-min doesn't have to go abroad, and they share a happy smile. Meanwhile, on the shore, E9 comes out of the water, bringing her last living clone. Then she looks at the bridge, planning her revenge. If you enjoy it, click and subscribe and watch the next video.